Hey everybody, Motorpoet59 here. We'll talk a little bit about groups. Doesn't matter what group it is, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's gays, doesn't matter if it's blacks, doesn't matter if it's women. It makes no difference. Most of the people in these groups are not interested in progress or success or equality or any of that. All they're worried about is being victims. They want to be seen as victims. And as long as people, no matter who it is, even if it's a group or an individual, as long as someone wants to be seen as a victim, that's all they will ever be. They'll never succeed. They'll never progress. They'll never do anything except be a victim. And I was going to say many of these groups, I can't really think of a group that's any different. They don't want to be fixed. They don't want their problems to be solved, because once that happens, then they just become like the rest of us, like you and I. Then they're just Americans. They're just people. They're just part of society. And that's what I'm for. I'm for everybody just being a part of society. I'm tired of hyphenated names. I'm tired of hyphenated cultures, African Americans, Mexican Americans. I'm Irish American, and probably a lot closer to my Irish roots than, say, the black community as a whole are to their African roots. I'm only a third-generation American on my dad's side. These people don't want to be fixed. They want you to see them as victims so you will continue to give them attention, because once they just become like you and I, what kind of attention do we get? None. The only people who pay attention to us are the bill collectors, the people who we pay our mortgages to and our car payments. Those are the only people who care about identifying us. They want to identify us as customers. And hey, that's the way of capitalism. So, whatever the market will bear, I will bear with it as an American. And these other groups, they don't. They want that attention. They want to be seen as different. They want to be seen as special. And they're not interested. Like I said earlier, they're not interested in equality. They're interested. What they want is superiority. They want to be seen as superior because they are part of this group who is being put upon, or who has been put upon. It's ridiculous. I was in a discussion recently with two different people about two different groups. And I told them the same thing. And one of them was kind of whatever you want to think. And the other one got kind of pissy about it. But it's the truth. And I told both of these people, when you are ready to truly be equal, come talk to me about equality. But as long as you want to be seen as being different, or being noticed because you're doing this or you look like that, I'm not interested. I don't want to hear your position. I don't want to hear your side. I don't want to hear how oppressed you are, because generally those people in those groups, the only people who are holding them back are themselves. It's not the government. It's not white people. It's not old white men. It's themselves. They're the ones who want to be seen as victims. And as I told them, as long as that's what you want, that's all you'll ever be. You'll never become the head of a corporation. You'll never advance to a higher place in your life than you are right now, because that's not what these people want. They want to be seen as different without having to do anything to earn that difference, that attention. If I want a special attention, I have to do something special. I can't just go out and say, hey, I'm a 63-year-old white guy who worked for the railroad for 40 years. Who cares? Who cares about that? I have accomplished a lot of things in my life, though. I'm happy with my life. I've done a lot of stuff. But these people who want to be victims haven't. They've accomplished nothing except scream at the world about how victimized they are. And as long as you only want to be seen as a victim, that's all you'll ever be seen as. So stop feeling sorry for yourself. Stop trying to get people to understand what you're going through, and just go through it like the rest of us have. I've gone through more problems in my life than either of the two people that I've talked to from these two different groups. They haven't gone through shit in their lives. They think they have because of the group with which they identify. But as far as individuals, they've experienced virtually nothing except the brotherhood and the sisterhood of victimhood. That is That is the only experience. And we didn't get into arguments about this. I just voiced my opinion after they had voiced theirs. And as with many of these groups, it's okay for them to have an opinion. It's okay for them to have an opinion of you, but you can't have an opinion of them unless it lines up with theirs. I've said for years and years and years, there's nothing in the Constitution or in basic life that says we all have to agree with each other or like each other or whatever. We don't have that right. I don't have the right for everybody to like me any more than any people in these groups have the right for everyone to like them or everyone to see things them way. Those differences are what makes America great. Our society right now in America is capitulating and they're caving to these groups. And pretty soon there will be no more real identity of Americans. It'll just be broken down into politically correct labels. And when that happens, we failed as a nation. The people in these groups have failed as individuals, and they're going to drag the rest of us down. And I hope that America wakes up and sees this happening. And I'm not saying that we should treat these groups any differently than we treat anyone else. Let's just treat everyone the same. Let's achieve true equality. Stop worrying about superiority, and maybe there'll be some progress. And I've said of one of these groups that the reason your group is failing is because it was never in the fight. That's the reason it's losing. You have to stop fighting against things and start fighting for things, because a lot of these groups, they're not fighting for their cause. They're fighting against everyone else's cause, against everyone else's opinion. They're trying to force their opinions on people who don't agree or don't understand or whatever, but they're trying to force that on people. And when you start trying to force things on people, no matter what it is, the people can agree or disagree with it. It doesn't matter. When you start trying to force it on people, you end up pushing people away, causing a bigger divide. And that's the only thing that has kept people like Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton in their positions for decades. Because once the lines of racism are gone, people like that cease to exist. No one cares anymore. That's what I'm talking about. These people aren't interested in equality or progress. They're interested in attention and victimhood. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Shoot me an email at motorpoet59@gmail.com. Like, share, subscribe. Click on the bell if you want to be notified of future content, and we'll see you all later.